So on October 28th, GTFO went live with a public alpha for people to play and test the networking of the game for about 24 hours. And within these 24 hours, you got the chance to play one of the later levels, I'm assuming the later levels in the game, and basically just get an idea of how this game works, if it's going to be fun for you, and honestly, I think it's going to be a great game. Now, from the basis of what I can get from the plot, you're a bunch of prisoners and you're going down into this facility to look for something to extract it. Not really sure what it is, I never got that far because I kept dying, but it's a basic plot and it works. It kind of reminds me of Alien Swarm in that sense. Gameplay is similar to something like Left 4 Dead but a bit more intense, and then the environments and the aliens or creatures or whatever the hell they are, it reminds me of Alien Swarm. So when you're going through, you'll be going through various different rooms with different enemies, and your objective mainly is to stay quiet so you don't awaken them and they don't send a horde after you, because you don't come in with enough ammo. And when you use the guns, while they do feel great, they really shouldn't be used unless you really have to. You get a basic choice of weapons in this, like a couple of SMGs, rifles, snipers, DMRs, a pistol and a revolver, and then a shotgun. But no matter what you take, you're not going to have a lot of ammo to begin with, so the game ends up being the secondary objective of looking for supplies. Now, you've obviously got stuff like health and ammo, but there's other things you can find as well, like a fog extraction machine, glue grenades to help like barricade doors, you've got what they're called, glow sticks, and then like a high powered light. Now, while those two secondary, the ammo packs and health kits, and then also tool repair kits, which gives you like more ammo for sentries and stuff, is crucial, and they're very hard to come by. Now, one of the cool things about this game is you'll end up finding a terminal which will become one of the main objectives in this game to locate things. And it runs like a command box, so you actually have to put in commands to use it. You can't just go, I'm going to click the A button and then that will look for this. You actually have to type in query key underscore green underscore, I don't know, 123, or query underscore ammo box underscore 567. Every item in this game has a unique number to it, and using that command console you can actually find everything you're looking for. There's a command which I think is just list, and it lists everything on the map. Now, unfortunately you can't scroll back up on the screen by using page up or down, but you get a gist of how much there is and how big this map is going to be. Being that we only got past the first horde event and then died, probably indicates that that wasn't even 10% of the level. I have no idea how long it is in general, but honestly, the amount of times I died and kept going back to it, I'm happy with that. I'm kind of happy that the alpha's over and I'm still sitting here thinking, man, I wish I could have beaten that level because it was really fun and I really wanted the reward of actually knowing that I can beat it.
I don't want to alarm you, but there's a bunch behind you.
That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Fuck, 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 fuck. Oh my god! Oh, no, coming! Just keep shooting.
Yeah!
We got the fuck out!
Now, one of the things I mentioned earlier was there's obviously some tools, but you actually get some to choose from as well, which will be stuff like a sentry gun, a mine deployer, which both just do exactly what they say on the tin, a glue gun to secure doors and slow down creatures, and then my personal favourite one, which is the bio tracker. Now, if you've ever seen something like Alien, there's a little radar they use which blips to tell you where the alien is. It's basically like that, but unless they're moving, you can't actually target them. So you'll be standing behind a door you're about to open, and then everybody will ask you, okay, what's behind this door? And you basically have to look at the little radar on your device and go, okay, we've got one on the left, two on the right, and then let's say there's 20 in the middle. You can tell them that, but you don't know if they're in that room because you don't know how big this room is. It's just a radar. It doesn't tell you the ins and outs of that room. It doesn't tell you the parameters. It just says, I can see these many life forms. Good luck. And I like the intensity of that. I like the idea you see a door and there's something right in front of it. You have no idea if it's a big enemy or a small enemy, and you have to hope for the best, so you just open the door, get your sledgehammer out and go to whack it in the head. And 9 times out of 10 you'll be fine, but then there's that one occasion where it is a massive fucker and you just hit it and realise that's going to do nothing, I need to get my guns out. But then getting your guns out, you make noise, you attract a horde, anything in that room will pick up on it, and if there's the creature called a scout, it will scream and bring everything down on you. Not just from the room in front of you, but every room in that zone. And if you haven't cleared a room behind you, you're going to get flanked immediately. Yes, you can use the bio tracker to point out where they are, but that doesn't equate to how hard these enemies are. So with the enemies in this game, there's, from what I've seen, 3 different types. You've got the sleepers, which are like these dormant creatures which will heartbeat and pulse when they come to sense you, which is just disgusting. It sounds horrible, but I love it. You've got these bigger things, which I'm going to call a brute, which is basically like these sleepers, but you can't one-hit kill them, so you want to avoid them unless you have to fight one. And then third, you've got the scout. Now the scout, unlike the sleepers, isn't dormant, it actually wanders around, and all of a sudden it will stop. And you think, okay, that's fine, but then all of a sudden these tentacles come out of his head, and if you touch one of these tentacles, it will scream because then it will alert the horde, and then you're back into the really shit scenario. But the best thing about this, which I love, is when you see one and you go to hide around the corner, and then all of a sudden you see this tentacle sliver through, and it is absolutely disgusting, but it is such a horror film cliche that I love it. Now I'm not personally affected by horror, but even that made me feel a bit uncomfortable, and the amount of times we saw one and immediately went into that status, we just all went, shit, we need to get back. And if there's a sleeper near you, you can't actually move, so you get stuck in a really awkward situation of, do I bite the bullet and try to kill this one sleeper, or do I just fight the horde entirely? Because regardless of what happens, if that scout hears you, you're fucked. And it's great. The game will fuck you over on purpose, and I love it. And it's not because the game is being bullshit, it's more because you're not learning from your mistakes. And believe me, I really hate to say this because I sound like a fucking IGN or Polygon reporter, but this is the equivalent of what Dark Souls would be like if it was a first-person shooter. And yes, I know that sounds incredibly stupid, but with Dark Souls, a lot of it is rinse and repeat and learning from your mistakes, trying to overcome the situation and then carry on. And GTFO is exactly like that. You could probably try to run in guns blazing, but you will fail. You can try and sneak through and then not realise that the flashlight will actually affect the sleepers if you shine them on them, so then next time you know to turn your light off. You could then realise something that I found out: if you flick your light on and off, they get alerted by it, but they don't go into a panic frenzy. They will light up about to pulse, and then if you turn it off and sit still, you know where they are. So if you don't have the bio tracker, you can still find out where these creatures are without really doing anything to screw your team over. And then obviously there's stuff like the events when you have to open a security door, and you then realise you need to prep, but you can't prep fully because 1, you don't know where they're coming from, and 2, you don't know where these panels are going to be which you need to stand in. And yeah, overall, it's just so much fun. I wouldn't ever recommend this game to a casual player. You can't go into GTFO thinking, oh, I can just play this for 5 minutes and then get on with it. You need to have time for this game. It's nothing like previous FPSs. I personally can't think of anything to compare this to, which is a good thing, because then whenever this game does come out, I'm going to have a nice new experience for a game which, honestly, with the first person shooter genre, I haven't seen this in quite some time. Obviously there's been games like this in the third person shooter aspect, but for an FPS, it's surprising. Now, I don't really have much input to give into what can be improved because there isn't enough to go by. I think if we have a bigger alpha with a couple more levels, then I can give some input, maybe not give us such a hard level to go with, but besides that, yeah, I don't have any gripes with it. My only real complaint is, apparently from what my friends were saying, there's a bit of desync when you're playing online, but that's to be given, especially when it's a peer-to-peer game. But every now and then the game would just freeze, and that's due to a performance issue. I don't know if it's a memory leak or just my card itself, but it would keep happening, and it would happen at the most awkward of times. So if there's like a gunfight going on, my game would freeze for a second, and in that second, I could be dead. To put it plain and simple, I could have just been killed then, and I can't do anything about it. But honestly, if you're not an ambassador yet for 10 Chambers, sign up for it. There'll be another alpha soon from what they're saying, and just give it a go. While you might not be into horror and you'd rather hear your favourite YouTubers praise this game, I personally think with GTFO, it's one of these rare games that you can't experience without playing it for yourself. You can watch all these clips, all these funny moment videos of the game, but nothing is as comparable as being in the situation yourself and watching yourself shit yourself because you fucked yourself over.